Avodati. We are on page Yud Bet in the introduction of Rabbi Yosef Kapach to the Mishneh Torah. In the middle of the page, there's a word Avodati. My work. This is Rav Kapach and his explanation of what it is that he has been working on in this Mishneh Torah. Avodah zo asher avadti al sifro zeh shel Rabbeinu. This work that I have done on the book of Rabbeinu the Rambam, kvar alta al libi lifnei shanim rabot. It already entered my heart many years ago, beot od yamim, when I was younger. לרגל העיסוק הממושך והמתמיד בספר יד החזקה עם ציבור הלומדים, as I continued to teach and learn the book יד החזקה, the Rambam is Mishneh Torah, with the students. בראותי צורך לעבודה מעין זו, when I saw that there was a need for this kind of work. כדי לתת למעיין את מלוא האפשרות להבנת דברי רבנו על אופנם. I wanted to allow the readers of the Rambam the ability to learn the Rambam's words properly, correctly. בעיקר, mainly יצרה בדחיפה לכך דבקותם של סבי ואבי בכתבי יד העתיקים. Mainly was the drive that I was inspired by my grandfather and my father in their search for handwritten manuscripts. ואשר לא חסכו כל מאמץ יגע והוצאות כדי להשיג כתבי יד שלמים וחסרים. And they were not afraid of wasting time or money or any effort to get even half manuscripts, let alone whole manuscripts. Vav dapim bodedim, and even some small pages, single pages. Birchisha bekesef maleh, and they paid with full money for those pages. Uvetashloum l'shlichim livdok begnizot limtso kol daf v'chetzi daf misifrei Rabbeinu. And they paid people to get a 1 page or even half a page of the writings of the Rambam. Milvad hachipusim she'asu hem be'atzmam. Aside from the search that they themselves searched in the writings of the Rambam, in the different gnizot, in the different burial sites. So, there are a few places where you can hide manuscripts, correct? We mentioned the cemeteries earlier on. We also mentioned that in a synagogue, in a Bet Knesset, you'd have an attic or a basement or a cabinet or somewhere that they just keep all the old stuff. And he would pay people, the grandfather and the father of Rabbi Kapach, would pay people to go around and to look for manuscripts in different places. And when they would find them, to pay full money for them. Like I explained in the introduction to the commentary of the Mishnah, for one of our early rabbis in Yemen, which is attributed to Rabbi Natan, who was the founder of the yeshiva. And that has been printed in the certain type of Mishnayot. Come, sit, we'll make room. Or Chava, you fit right there.
Only shine. Bring in 2 chairs. Yeah, there you go.
וחלק מן החומר שנצבר באמתחתם נמצא כיום תחת ידי. Says Rabbi Yosef Kapach, and some of the documents, some of the manuscripts that my grandfather and my father collected are still in my possession. And he adds here in brackets something very tragic. Parat lema shenignav. Aside from what was stolen from me, כאשר הגיעו ספריי מתימן לארץ ישראל, when my books came from Yemen to Israel, ולא מעט נגנב, and not only a little bit has been stolen, כפי שהזכרתי בהקדמתי למורה נבוכים, like I mentioned in my introduction to מורה נבוכים. If I'm not mistaken, there were thieves who later on discovered, Kapach put out, I remember once reading in one of the articles, I don't remember where, maybe from his granddaughter, that he put out requests that people who stole from him should just give him back the manuscripts, everything else he could keep. And some people would sell him back his own manuscripts that were stolen from him. Should know. And here I know I'm being recorded, so I'll be very careful how I'm going to say what I'll say. I don't even know how careful I need to be. Much of what was done to Jews of Sephardic and Yemenite origin in the early years of the State of Israel was perpetuated by the establishment. If it was the State of Israel, if it was the different organizations attached to the State of Israel, if it was the rabbinic organizations that were involved in the founding of the State of Israel, each of them to a different degree and to a different extent. For many years, when you would speak about these things in Israel, it was illegal, because Israel doesn't have laws that free speech. You don't have freedom of speech in the State of Israel. There's limitations to what you're allowed to speak about, especially on public air. Those of you who are blind supporters should reconsider your stances, because if you want to support Israel, you'll support Israel to become a free country. And I'm saying that from a place of a religious Zionist, because our religion would demand such a thing from a people who are supporting such a country. What for many years was illegal to speak about then became mocked, and you were considered a conspiracy theorist if you were to talk about the kidnapped children of Yemen, or the kidnapped children of Tehran, or of Morocco, or even of Germany in the early years of the State of Israel. And when you would speak about organizations like WIZO, or the World Zionist Organization, or Hadassah, or their involvement in this whole scheme, they would look at you like you might as well talk about how America never made it to the moon. It's a similar vein. In fact, you'd be mocked, especially in more academic circles and more, famous circles in Israel. Until, lo and behold, just a few years ago, some of the last politicians involved in this parasha, in this story, they died. And all of a sudden, thousands and thousands and thousands of files were opened up, half of which are still censored. So key names are still blacked out, and they're censored editions that have been let out. Just on Thursday, I received a book from Israel with a list of names and family names and social security numbers of some hospitals of which they were kidnapped, of 2,050 children that we have proof of that were kidnapped by the founders of the State of Israel and by the organizations attached to them. It's not the number that is out there, but it's a number that we can prove today. That there's not a shadow of a doubt that it happened, and we know where it happened, we know what day it happened on, we know which doctors were involved, we know which prime ministers knew and didn't know. When I was in Yerushalayim 3 summers ago for a rabbinic convention, so we met researchers who this was their task. They were researching things that until then had been illegal to research in Israel. You don't want to know everything that I've said. Be careful. What I'm telling you now is only the tip of the iceberg, because I don't want to be from those that support anti-Israel agendas in the world. Aside from the kidnapping of children, the scientific and medical experimentation on children, on women, people who were killed in Israeli hospitals as guinea pigs for scientific research. In the word of one of the survivors that I spoke to personally from Iraq, she said, how could it be that people who survived the Holocaust did to us, their brothers and sisters, what they did to them in the Holocaust? Part of this entire agenda, because you have to ask, so what were your intentions? What were you trying to accomplish? And some of the early pioneers said very clearly, listen, we see what it's like for these primitive people to come from all these backward countries. And they have so many children that they don't know how to take care of. They don't know how to feed. They don't know how to clothe them. They don't know how to educate them properly. So we're helping them out. One child will take them away from his parents and we'll put them in a good family's home. A family that needs a child, that can take care of a child, has resources to take care of, what's for the better of the good of this child. That attitude didn't just end when it came to people. Didn't end when it came to people's children. It continued into these handwritten manuscripts that we had been holding onto for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. If any of you know anything about the Aleppo Codex, the Keta Amsoba, now I'm not going to lie to you that I'm certain that there are some Syrian Jews involved in that story as well. It wasn't just all the fault of those people in Israel. But there were books that we managed to take care of for 800 years in those primitive, uneducated, backward countries. Books that we wrote, by the way. All of a sudden we come to Israel, and government organizations, museums, all kinds of institutions take those manuscripts away for the sake of preserving them, because they are national Jewish treasures that should be preserved by national Jewish institutions. Same way the Vatican took away many Jewish books throughout history in order to preserve them as they were exterminating the Jews. And some of those books that they took away to preserve were lost, were stolen, were sold into private collections, fell apart under their own supervision. You're talking about single manuscripts that only one copy exists in the whole world. If I wasn't on camera, I would let you know which of your favorite presidents of Israel was responsible for the pillaging of Jewish manuscripts from Sephardic countries. President, I didn't say Prime Minister, President, famous president. Some of the manuscripts we found later on in the private collection of a certain chief rabbi of the state of Israel. Don't worry, he got his cut also. Rabbi Yosef Kapach comes to Israel only to find out that somebody, I don't know who, stole his manuscripts. And what he gives us is from what he has left. So you can imagine what he would have given us if he had more. והנה מציג כאן מכתב אחד מרבים שכתבו סבי ואבי לכפרים לחפש בגניזות כדי להציל מה שניתן להציל מספר רבנו. So I'm going to copy here one of the letters from the handwriting of my grandfather and my father who sent shlichim, messengers, to go and look for writings of the Rambam. בקיץ שנת תרע"ח. Someone want to give me that year in Hebrew? תרע"ח. Yeah, that's 1917 or 18. So in Tafresh Einchet, that's over 100 years ago.
Year of the Bolshevik Revolution. Yeah,
Very good. On the other side of the world, Hishnat Bet Resh Chavtet Leshtarot. What is the counting of Shtarot? There's two ways to count the Jewish calendar, yes? You count from the time of the creation of the world, or you count using the count of when you sign documents. You know what I'm talking about? You heard about it once. The Yemenites are the only Jews who still do such a thing. In Talmudic times, when we sign letters, we sign legal contracts, you don't use from the creation of the world. There's a special counting system, a special calendar system that we use. In Yemen was the last place they used it, and he records both because he knows that people like us don't know how to calculate the other one. יצא אחד מתלמידיו, רבי רפאל סרי, לכפר קיט. One of the students, Rabbi Raphael, went out to a small village, נקרא קריה על קבל, או בקיצור על קריה, למטרת ריפוי. He went out there for therapeutic reasons. בכפר זה היו גניזות עתיקות. And in that village it was known that there were old גניזות, old burial sites of Jewish manuscripts. וסבי כתב לו שיקח פועל, and my grandfather wrote a letter to him saying you should hire a worker, יפתח את הגניזות, you should open up all those old burial sites, וילקט מה שיש שם מספר רבנו, you should collect anything he finds from the writings of the Rambam. והרי תרגום המכתב שנמסר לי על ידי בנו, מור עזרא סרי. He said, and I have a letter translated into Hebrew from the son of this man, Rabbi Raphael, that went out to go look for the letters. Here's the letter. It's a typed up version of the letter you see on the left side of the page. So left side of the page you have a manuscript, the right side is typed up. Yom Bet, Zayin Tammuz, and then has the date of the calendar year. So Zayin Tammuz, this is the summer. Yes? Shalom Lecha, hello to you, v'shalom lo'ozrecha, and hello to you, the helper, Yididenu Raphael ben Yichye Ansari, Hashem Yerchim Av Shodav. Rabbi Raphael, the son of Yichye, may Hashem increase your years of your life. Mikol tzara v'nezek yatzilehu, and from all kinds of tragedy and disaster he should save you. Vishlach lo refuah shlema, and you should send him a speedy recovery. Amen ken yeh ratzon. Achar drishat shalom, after sending my regards, nodia lecha yedidi, I'm notifying you, my friend. Ki ba chamicha, that your father-in-law came ve'amar, and he told you, Shamar Salem Chalaf. This man, Salem Chalaf, that's hu ha'memuneh al bet hakneset shesham hagnizot. He was the caretaker of the synagogue where the manuscripts were in. Shiftach et hagnizot, that he should open up the places where they hide the manuscripts, the old worn-out books. ויקח מה שירצה, he should take whatever he wants, ויחזיר הסתימות של הגניזות כפי שיהיו, as long as he puts back the seal on those cabinets or whatever they were, like they were originally, ולכן אתה תשתדל בדבר, please, do what you can, ולקט מה שתמצא מדפי המשנה בערבית, והחיבור, כתב יד, anything you find in the Arabic commentary of the Mishnah, the translations of the manuscripts of the Rambam and handwriting. ותן למי שיחזיר את הסתימות כפי שיהיו, and pay whoever it will be to seal off these the whatever you would call them, vaults or clay jugs or cabinets, wherever they kept them in. ותכתוב עלינו המחאה בכל מה שתוציא בכך, ואנחנו שלם הסכום לחמיך יחי נדף. He said, give us a receipt, how much it costs you, we will pay the entire sum to your father-in-law here. כמה שיהיה, אנא אל תתרשם בדבר. It doesn't make a difference how much it will be, כמה שיהיה. How much it's going to cost. Don't be lazy. תן למי שיפתח, pay somebody to open it. ולקט את הדפים, and you collect the pages, איך שיהיו, however they are. ואפילו מקוראים, even if they're ripped pages. ואל תחוס על ההפסד של שכר הפותח ועשותיהם בדמי הסעיד. He said, please, don't be stingy. Don't care about how much it's going to cost to open or close or to seal it off again with plaster. את הכל אנחנו נשלם לך מיד. We'll pay you immediately. ליד חמיך יחי נדף. We'll pay your father-in-law, רבי יחי נדף. המקום ברוך הוא, may Hashem blessed be he, יעמידך מחולייך, may he take you out of your sickness, וירפא מחלתך, and he should heal your illness, מהרה, speedily, ויהיה בעזרך, and he should be there to assist you, וירוויח מזונותיך, and he should bless your sustenance, ואמן כני רצון. And then he says here, ומעתיר בעדך עטרת החיים והשלום, this is a person, I think Dashu stands for Doresh Shlomcha v'Tovatcha. He who seeks your good and your blessing. We sign that in letters. We sign to a friend. How do you sign a letter? Sincerely. What does it mean sincerely? Write a letter. Give someone a bracha at the end. Hadoresh, Yosef Chachamim, right? Hadoresh Tovatcha u'Shlomcha kol hayamim. I who seek and pray for your well-being my whole life. Achicha Tza'ir, your younger brother. Your dear friend. Write something like a human being writes another human being. All the best. It's all the best. Give somebody a blessing, like a human being gives somebody a blessing. If you wanted to speak with a wall, you'd go speak to the wall. When you write to people with their cheretz. Hamatir badcha, someone who's always praying for you, ateret ha'chaim v'ashalom, for life and for peace. Yichye ben Shlomo Kapach. This is the grandfather of Rabbi Yosef Kapach. Bishulei hamichtav, and you'll see, look at the photocopy here. On the bottom of the letter, there's a second paragraph. This is an addition from Rav Kapach's father, so the son of the grandfather. Bishulei hamichtav osif avi zad kedei lezarez l'shaliach. My father added his own notes to the letter, so, to encourage the messenger. Va'afilu dapim mekoraim min hamishnah al ta'azov. Do me a favor. Even if you find ripped pages from Mishnah, don't leave them behind. Ela shlach otan. Send them. Va'afilu chetzi or reva daf, even a half a page or a quarter of a page. Don't say, it's not important. It's important. Maybe over there we're going to find one letter different than the manuscripts we have, and then we'll be able to fix things. Everything is important. Yosef livdok bagniza asher tachat ha'echal milvad ha'shtayim mastumot. He said, aside from the two areas that are sealed off and you have to open them and close them, go look under the Aron HaKodesh. Like we have a cabinet here. You open this, up top there's Torah. What's underneath here? It's only those of you who pray here know what's in here. People keep talitot. There's some stenders in there, some old papers in there, couple of pillows in there. There's some people's car keys in there. Whatever you need in there is in there. Everybody should move their car keys out. That's on camera. Yeah.
As long as there's no promissory.
There's all kinds of things in there. The Beit HaKnesset, this place is going to be, in 100 years, what's inside of those pictures. He said, don't just look inside of the vaults. Go look under there too. Maybe you'll find something. Vishtadel meod. And work very hard. Val tachus min afar v'avak. And please, don't be discouraged by the dirt and the dust. ואפילו תשלם למי שהוציא את הדפים ואתה תלקט אותם. Even pay somebody to go and take the papers out for you. אל תתעצל בדבר זה, please, בדבר זה. Don't be lazy in this matter. כיוון שאתה כבר בעל קריאה אוסף לעשות המצווה הגדולה הזו, he said, you're already there, so do this מצווה. ושלום, may there be peace to you, David, signed David Kapach.
They have funds available to them.
So clearly they did. Clearly they did. And they used their money for this purpose. somebody was in my house a long time ago. Was wondering, why do you have so many books? Why do you have so much money? Why do you have so many books? Yeah. So, listen, I don't get into your bank account. Don't get into mine. But we can talk about books. Books are expensive. When I first came to America as a rabbi, someone asked me a question on halakha. My books were still in transit from Israel to San Diego in the sea, on a boat from Israel, 12 boxes, of which some of them got lost somewhere in the middle of the ocean. I got someone else's boxes of Korean books with my name on it. All kinds of things got mixed up over there. I think now that might be a little scarier than it was then. But it was what it was. Some of my books didn't make it. Some were making it slowly as time
Still
progressed.
are in progress.
But I got asked a halakha question. I had to go look for a Shulchan Aruch. At the time where I was, in the Beit Knesset, there was no Shulchan Aruch. In the other Beit Knesset near where I was, there was no Shulchan Aruch. I called up a few rabbis. If they have a Shulchan Aruch, they don't have a Shulchan Aruch. Now, listen, I know there's internet versions of the Shulchan Aruch, but when you open up a Shulchan Aruch, you remember where things are written. You have to look for commentaries. Every commentary I want, I had to go find another PDF of it and scroll to, find the right page. It's all on the computer, and I'm trying to write a teshuvah. I'm trying to write a halachic response, and it's not working. I just can't find all the sources. So I was in LA, and I went to a bookstore. There's a guy there in LA sells books, not like the bookstores that other people have. He sells books straight from Israel. He orders them in big pallets from Israel. The kind of books that I would buy if I was in Israel. Okay, at a higher rate, but they're there. And I walked in the store. I said, "How much is your best set of Shulchan Aruch?" $650. $650. If I would tell you how much of my salary that was, you don't want to know. $650. So I looked at my biggest donor and I said, "Vori, are you okay with spending $650? And she said, "You need Shulchan Aruch?" Of course. And my dad was there because he would drive me to He said, "Yon, $650 for Shulchan Aruch? Are you crazy?" And I said, "Abba, I need the set." He said, "But that's a lot of money." I said, "Abba, I need a Shulchan Aruch." He said, "Okay, so get another one." I said, "Abba, you're in computers, no? Imagine how it's like for you to work without a computer. Imagine how much money you would pay to get a computer. Imagine if I told you instead of buying a computer at a computer store, you should go to Walmart and buy a Chromebook over there in the store and get all your engineering done over there. It would work for you? No. I need the best Shulchan Aruch. I'm not a computer programmer. I'm a rabbi. I need a Shulchan Aruch. And I bought a Shulchan Aruch, and until today, that's Shulchan Aruch I use. My other one came from Israel, so now I have 2 sets of Shulchan Aruch. When someone donated to me personally a Shulchan Aruch, I donated to the Beit Knesset. Now we have 3 Shulchan Aruch. In fact, now we have 4. Baruch Hashem. There should not be a shortage of Shulchan Aruch. I'll tell you, actually, I believe it was his yortzeit sometime recently. The only person who had a Shulchan Aruch in this neighborhood, I later found out, Alav Shalom, was Eli Kahn. He was part of our Kollel for many years. Eli Kahn had a Shulchan Aruch. His son had studied to be a rabbi, and he left the Shulchan Aruch with his father. And that's where I would go sometimes to get a Shulchan Aruch. But I needed a Shulchan Aruch, and I needed one with a tool and a Beit Yosef, and things that weren't in that version. So I explained to this person who was saying, "How much money could you spend on books?" Let me explain to you. When you go to a restaurant, for dinner. You take your wife, you take your kids, you take your husband, whatever, you go for a restaurant. How much does it cost you in a nice restaurant in Los Angeles? Don't be shy. You go on a vacation. 2 people. How much does it cost you?
$80.
130,
I'm eating where Zev eats. $150 easy you could spend? Yeah, easy. Correct? Let me ask you,
meat platters.
You look at your bill of how much money you spend in Coffee Bean or Starbucks. Listen, if you would pay me $12 a day to make your coffee, I'd make you coffee too. I'd even burn it for you like Starbucks does. Add it up. $7 a day? $7 times 30. Okay, now you're Shomer Shabbat, so you take off 4 days, you got a discount. Then how much money you spend on coffee? Think about your grocery shop. How much of your grocery shop is perishable? Calculate all that you use, all that you eat, all that you cook, all that you throw away in the trash when you go in the next week in your grocery shop. All that money that you spend. A few $100. You go to the restaurant, $150. I don't mean to say anything embarrassing. A few hours later, you're in the bathroom, and all of the food is gone. Your $150 are gone. You got some weight, some cholesterol, some fatty liver, some future stent, and that's it. That's all you got from the food that you got. Experience. After a few hours, your money's gone. You know how many books I could buy for $150 that are never gone? Books that I bought when I was 14 years old in yeshiva, and I used them last night. It's an investment. Some people invest in stocks. Maybe it's a smarter investment than my books. Some people invest in companies, invest in real estate, some of us invest in books. And those books, they never go away. I tell Elchanan all the time, Elchanan, if you're good. I once came into the house, and Elchanan and Avinam were having a conversation. They didn't know I came to the house. Elchanan told Avinam, when Abba dies, I'm going to be the rabbi. And Avinam said, okay, but when you die, I'm going to be the rabbi. And I'm listening, and I said, none of you, I don't have to die for any of you to be rabbis. Okay, we can all do this together. Yeah? And Elchanan stopped for him and he said, Abba, you don't have to die for me to be a rabbi. I want to be a rabbi that's smarter than you. So I want to be a rabbi of rabbis.
Wow.
Like Rabbi Peretz. That's what he said. I said, we did good with this one. I said, see, Elchanan? Like the Lion King. See all this land in front of you? All these books you see on the bookshelf? You didn't get toys, instead I got you Shulchan Aruchs. One day they'll be yours also. Either you'll be a Talmid Chacham, you'll be really happy with me, or you won't, and you're going to hate me that I invested all of your life savings into books. Different people have priorities on what is important to them. For some people, vacationing is important. They go for 10 days, they spend thousands of dollars on airplane tickets, on hotels, on resorts, on food, on drinks. Somebody once told me he goes to a bar. You know how much money you spend in a bar? The same bottle you pay for in the liquor store, $3. Over there, they charge you $28. I was once doing a hashgacha for a wedding, and they brought their own kosher wine, and the hotel still charged them a $40 cork fee.
Right.
They count the corks. We weren't allowed to open the wine. They had to open the wine, they count the corks, $40 a bottle. So they buy the wine, these people money was not a problem. Think about all the books you could have bought. How many Shulchan Aruchs you could have bought with the wine over there? Different people invest in different things. The Kapach family invested in handwritten manuscripts. For them, that was important. Because of that, they were able to give the Jewish people what nobody else was able to give the Jewish people. When everybody else was investing in borekas, or investing in gefilte fish, they invested in books. Not just any books, but the books you couldn't find somewhere else. Then when you invest in things, you want to ask yourself, am I investing in something that's proprietary? It's just like any investor would do. Am I investing in something that's special, that's unique, or am I investing in something everybody else invests in? When you buy things, just recently, I was studying a book, and I wanted to buy same copy of the book for one of my friends. Why? Because we had a conversation, it led me to this book. I bought this book years ago. I'll tell you what, I bought it in 2008 in Yerushalayim. I remember the bookstore I bought it in, little hole in the wall in Mea Shearim. I bought the book, and now, mamash, this month or 2 months ago, I wanted to buy a copy of this book for Rabbi Ben Zaken in Los Angeles. We were having a conversation, I wanted to buy him a copy. I called my book guy, and he started laughing. What's so funny? I mean, it's expensive, I'll pay money for it, what's the problem? He says, Rabbi Yonatan, this book was in print for 3 months. They printed it. The children of the printer, of the author, filed a lawsuit. They don't want this book printed. They got rid of all the manuscripts from the shelves. The book has not seen the light of day since 2008. I had just happened to be walking through a bookstore. I saw a book, it looked interesting, I bought it. I can't even buy another copy for somebody else. It depends what you invest in. I had no idea, but I paid like $10 for the book, $11 for the book. Today I'm grateful for that. When you choose, what am I leaving behind for Am Yisrael? The things that I involve myself in, the projects I take on in my life. Am I doing things that everybody else is also doing? How many people are saving this or helping that? There are a lot of people to do those jobs. And how many people are doing things that nobody else could do if it wasn't for them? You may be doing a lot of good in the world, but are you utilizing the unique good that only you can do? Can you say, hey, when I see the last name Kapach, I know this is the family that single-handedly saved the Rambam. Can you say that about yourself? And if you can't, you should. I hope we all can.
I have to ask a question.
Sure.
I mean, I believe that they did incredible work in saving the true writings of the Rambam, but then what's the other Mishneh Torah we have based on if it took that to save his writing?
So, the Kapach family didn't just save the Rambam. There are a number of books that are printed from the Kapach family that we don't have one other copy. Not even the Vatican has a copy of it. Like the writings of the Ritba, Shut Ritba. Only because of them we have a copy of that book. There are some writings he referred to of the Rosh Shiva from Yemen, the early commentators of the Mishnah. We only have a copy because of them. The Rambam, you're right, we have an edited version of the Rambam, meaning a corrected version of the Rambam because of them. I was echoing the words of Rabbi Yosef or Mordechai when he said they were the Go'alei HaRambam, the redeemers of the Rambam. I think it's fair to give them that. What is the Mishneh Torah we have? Remember we said before, the Mishneh Torah is a printed Mishneh Torah. It's like any other printed book. It's censored and mistake. It's not even intentional. A lot of it is just mistakes.
And how over generations, one mistake distorts something much greater over time.
Last week's shiur was small deviances lead to large gaps. It's always what you deviate from now. I was speaking with somebody about dating. He really liked this girl, but him and her, listen, they had some differences. Everybody has differences. What do you have to figure out are the differences between you and her, or you and him? Are they differences that are always going to stay the same, or do they just drift farther apart? Imagine you're in the airport. You meet a really nice person in the airport gate waiting area, and you're talking. Wow, I wish I could spend the rest of my life with this person I met at the airport. Pretend, indulge me. And then you realize that where she's going to gate 46, you're going to gate 45. They're flying to South Africa, and you're flying to Canada. And it doesn't make a difference how much you want to continue talking. At the end of the day, both of you are going to get in different airplanes, and you can't continue this conversation until you get to the other side of the world. Sometimes in life, you think that right now we're sitting right next to each other, so it looks the same. But we're not thinking 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road. When we continue on the path we're going, how far apart are we going to be then? What do Chachamim say? Chacham enav berosho. A wise person has eyes in his head. Where else do you have eyes? Picasso had eyes in other places, but where else do you have eyes? You have eyes in your head. What is Chacham enav berosho? Ezu Chacham, the Mishnah says, who is a Chacham? Haroeh et hanolad. He who sees what will be born. Meaning, we'll see the end result of something that has not yet been born yet. Great thinkers, great philosophers, great scholars are not the people who were. My wife was telling me today. What you read the book of Yechezkel. What makes Yechezkel a prophet? That something that was written 2,000 years ago is happening now. That makes somebody a prophet. It's prophetic. It's not, you read sometimes writings of a person and you wonder, wow, when he wrote that for a long time ago, because I want to read that out loud ever again. And other people, you read their writings, wow. I wonder if anybody in his generation even understood what he was talking about. There are things that Rav Uziel writes about, Rav Kook writes about. And I wonder, when he was speaking about this, did anybody who was sitting next to him even understand what he was talking about? The PSS in the Rebbe has a beautiful book on education, an introduction on educating children. The struggles of children in Jewish schools. And it makes you wonder if the PSS in the Rebbe wasn't murdered in the Holocaust, but if he lived in 2020 and wrote this book now for kids going to the regular day school and yeshiva system. Because the same problems that were always are. But I can't imagine a little kid in the shtetl in Poland was struggling with the things that he's saying people are struggling with. Let's do one more paragraph together. Yeah, not even a paragraph, a few sentences. We read this one together when we first started. Heveti gam tzilum hamichtav. The next page you've done it. I brought the photocopy, meaning I included the photocopy in my book. Kivan she'adayin lo kalu datan ve'amira min ha'olam. Because the haters have not yet died, there are still datan and aviram in the world. Asher en masveh busha al pnehem, that have no cloak of shame over their face. Uvemetzach nechushan, with a brazen forehead. Omrim la'av matolidu lisham matechilin. It's a quote from Yeshayahu, chapter 45. He says to a father, who have you given birth to? To a woman, who are you? This idea of what you have is not really yours. There are people who doubt the things that even you know. There's this concept called gaslighting. You've heard of it? When someone makes you feel like you're crazy for something that you know is true. If you're married, you know all about it. It's well, this idea of, you know that this manuscript is from Yemen, you know it's real, you know it's authentic, and there are people like, no, it's not, you made it up. Like that rabbi we read in that letter in the first Jew. He says, the only thing Rav Kapach had in a manuscript was his dreams. He was dreaming when he wrote these books. How dare you write such a thing for a person who really has manuscripts? Now, he says, I know there are people who are going to say that this letter never happened. I printed how I printed because I needed to include this in the book. I needed people to know that my grandparents paid money for these books, that they actually had manuscripts. They didn't raid the synagogues. This was part of what they did in order to collect manuscripts. B'ezrat Hashem, tomorrow, we're going to continue a little more understanding the Mishneh Torah, understanding an example. We've been mentioning about discrepancies between the old Mishneh Torah and the current Mishneh Torah, and what is it? How could one word really make such a big difference? Tomorrow you're going to see an example. How one word, so many scholars try to answer how there's this discrepancy in the Rambam, until a Yemenite manuscript comes along and says, there's no discrepancy in the Rambam. You have a misprint, and that's why you're working so hard to try to answer the Rambam. God willing, that's for tomorrow night.